Good morning, Yankees universe. KOD Nation, stand up. And you degenerates, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I am here with you guys on this fine Wednesday morning, July 6th. How we do? Yankees coming up with a tough loss against the Pittsburgh Pirates, a game that going into it, if you was a betting person, you would have took this bet. But at the same time, would you have taken this bet? Because it may be the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it is the same Pittsburgh Pirates that swept the series against the National League West leading LA Dodgers. So, yes, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it's still a major league team that you can't sleep on. And we saw it last night. We got some numbers here that I'm going to dive deep into. I got my notebook on the side. I was taking notes. I was getting organized. But, yeah, tough loss overall. Sip my iced coffee. Tough loss. Should have been a game that we won. A lot of different points of views that we could, angles that we could start with. And I'm going to start with my guy, Jameson Taillon. And I'm sorry to put it like this. Sorry the graphics got the house burning, but Jameson Taillon and his past 6 starts, ever since he almost got that almost no-hitter where I think he took it into the 8th or the 9th inning. And those 6 starts since then, Jameson Taillon has an ERA of 6.16. In the month of May, Jameson Taillon was lights out, was dominant, was automatic. He was pitching to an ERA that was below 250, was a sub 250 ERA. Looked like the ace of our staff right next to Nestor Cortez. But as soon as the calendar turned to June, he struggled. In April and May, Taillon was pitching almost 6, 7, 8 innings every start. In June, and it's his first start in July, but in June, he's only giving you 5 or 6 innings. And we seen it last night. So again, over the past 6 starts, ever since his no-hit bid that he almost had, Jameson Taillon is pitching to an ERA that is 6.16. It's not a good look. Yankees have been winning games, though, as the bats have been waking up. So, as great as this team has been, this is a hiccup that Jameson Taillon has to figure out. And he has to figure it out soon. I know a lot of Yankee fans. This is why we're pushing for adding another starting pitcher, right? A month ago, at the beginning of June, I don't think any Yankee fans would have been pushing heavily like they are right now for the Yankees to acquire another starting pitcher. But a month more into the season, July 6th, right around the corner from the All-Star break, and it seems like we're going to have to push and get another starting pitcher. Now, whether it's Luis Castillo, that's something to see, or whether it's a Frankie Montas. I know yesterday we was talking about Frankie Montas, but looking into it, he's hurt. So I'm not sure if that's a fly that we want to take. And I think Brian Cashman, if he wanted to get Frankie Montas, like as badly as he wanted to get Luis Castillo, Frankie would be will be in the Bronx by now, right? But I don't think Cashman is 100% sold on Frankie Montas the way he is on Luis Castillo, because before the Yankees acquired Jameson Taillon, Brian Cashman was trying his darnest to get Luis Castillo. In 2019 and 2018, it was rumor mill was just buzzing with Luis Castillo to the Yankees. So this has been a player that Brian Cashman has been trying to get ever since 2018, 2019. Apparently, according to the rumors, now take this with a grain of salt. This was all reported on Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. But according to the rumors, the reason why the Yankees didn't acquire him back then is because they didn't want to cut ties with Gary Sanchez. The Reds wanted Gary Sanchez back in 2018 and 2019. Looking at it right now in 2022, that should have been a move that Brian Cashman pulled the trigger on. You know, as much praise as we want to give Brian Cashman for moves that he make that are good, you got to give him praise when he or you got to give him, you know, his bumps and bruises when he makes bad moves or when he doesn't make a move. That Josh Donaldson trade, it's not looking really good right now, especially with the money that he is owed, not only this season, not only next season, but he has a player option for the year after that. And most likely 100% he's going to pick it up. I think Josh Donaldson has hit a wall in his career. He's 35 years old. We're going to have him next year at 36 and the year after that at 37. He's not the same hitter that he once was 5 years ago. It's not the same. And I hate to see it right now, especially with this team as good as it's been. But that's why you got to look at the other pieces that we have. When you have somebody who can come in like a Matt Carpenter, who literally had to wipe off the crumbs off his shirt because he was sitting at home on the couch when he got the call from the Yankees. Granted, he was in spring training with the Texas Rangers. Any other team could have took a fly on Matt Carpenter. But the Yankees were the ones who pulled the trigger. And it is paying off tremendously. Matt Carpenter, he's hitting over 300. Matt Carpenter has 8 home runs, one shy of Joey Gallo. Matt Carpenter has a slugging percentage of 900. He has a WAR that I believe is north of 9. So Matt Carpenter, put him in the lineup, and he's going to do what he got to do. Now, I think the writing is on the wall now because we saw Matt Carpenter, and I brought it up yesterday. We saw Matt Carpenter the other game in the outfield. Granted, it was for an inning, but he was still in the outfield. I think the days are numbered for Mr. Joey Gallo. We didn't see him last night play either. So I think the days are numbered for Mr. Joey Gallo. It's sad. And what's even worse is, you know, with our luck as Yankees, as Yankee fans, Joey Gallo is going to wind up in San Diego. And for some reason, the second half of the season, Joey Gallo is going to like be top 5 when it comes to OPS. That's just how I think it's going to work out. But Joey Gallo for this team, for the New York Yankees, he's not a fit. He's not a fit anymore. You know, we're pushing back Andujar. Estevan Florial is tearing the ball off the cupboard in the minor leagues. And I'll get to that right now. But I think this is all a foreshadowing. Oh, it's like you guys know when you're outside and you smell the rain in the air because it's about to downpour heavily. That's where the New York Yankees are right now. You got so many rumors going about. You got Joey Gallo missing a game. You got Andujar upset in the minor leagues. Florio tearing the cover off the ball down there. I think this is all a plan from Brian Cashman to put a package together for Luis Castillo. That's just how I look at it. Brian Cashman is working the phones, trying to get us Luis Castillo. And when you look at the Cincinnati Reds, shout out to everybody who's watching on Instagram Live. When you look at the Cincinnati Reds, a package of Estevan Florial, Miguel Andujar, and a couple other minor leaguers, and a package together for Luis Castillo, you you you, you can't hang up the phone. That's a move you got to make. When you look at the Yankees last year, right? And we had Park in our system, right? You guys remember Park? That's the Yankees prospect that everybody wanted to play last year. He was tearing the ball off. He was hitting well over 300 in the minors. Came up here, he had a couple hits. He just showed his value at the major league level. And what happened? We flipped him for Clay Holmes, our closer right now, our all-star closer. So could it be a situation or a scenario that Estevan Florial is traded to a team and he blossoms into this star? We don't know. The potential has always been there. I think in 2019, Estevan Florial was ranked the number one prospect in the Yankees system. So the talent and the potential has always been there for Florial. The thing is, when you're on a championship contender, when you're on the New York Yankees, who has the best record in all of baseball, I know I've said that I would rather live with the struggles of a Estevan Florial or Miguel Andujar in this lineup, but reality is reality. And a first place team like the New York Yankees, unfortunately, is not a team that would allow Estevan Florial to flourish at the major league level. The New York Yankees, and the situation that they are in right now, competing for a championship, competing for the number one seed in baseball, I don't think the New York Yankees are in a situation or in the position to allow Estevan Florial to have 1 or 2 weeks where he goes hitless, or where he has 1 or 2 weeks of balls, misplaying balls in the outfield and center field. And then on top of it, Aaron Judge is our center fielder for the rest of this season. I don't think as much as I would love to see it, I don't think Florial is going to move Aaron Judge from center to right field. When we drafted Judge, you draft him as a center fielder. That's the position he wants to play. He has told the Yankees he wants to play center field. And I think the Yankees are going to let him rock out for the rest of the year playing center field. The Yankees are 50-50. It seems like the Yankees are 50-50 when it comes to signing him after this year. So who knows? The Yankees may be playing this like Milwaukee played it when they got CC Sabathia. Oh, you want to start every 3 days? Cool, copy. You get hurt, that's on you. Could the Yankees be doing that with Aaron Judge? I'm not too sure. But they're playing him in center field every day. It went from playing center field 2 days out the week, 3 days out the week, to now he's just playing center field every day for the rest of the year. Now, when you seen Brian Reynolds last night, he's not, quote unquote, a phenomenal gold glove defensive center fielder, but he can make the plays when they need to be made. You saw that yesterday when he robbed Giancarlo Stanton of a 2-run single. Now, would that have brought in both runs? Not too sure. 1 run, absolutely. Both runs, not too sure. Not too sure. But that's just me. So when you look at this team and you look how it's constructed, right? Over these past 2 weeks, the Yankees bats have gone cold. This lineup has gone cold. We saw it against Cleveland. We saw it when we was no hit against the Houston Astros. We came back the next day, even though that was late in the game. Giancarlo Stanton hit that home run. We saw it, right? Collectively as a team, the Yankees are hitting below 220 as a team in this stretch over these past 2 or 3 weeks. Aaron Judge, we've seen Aaron Judge batting average go from 316, drop down all the way to 286. And in this stretch, Judge is hitting a $168 in this stretch. That's not something that we could be happy with for the rest of the year. Because as great as this pitching staff has been this season, you saw last night with Tyone. You're going to have your hiccups. You're going to need this offense to turn it in another gear. We had different stretches of the season when the offense looks like, wow, this is a different offense. We're not relying solely on the home run ball. We're moving guys over, hit and run. We're stealing bases. We're getting singles. We're going the opposite way. But then we fall back into our Achilles heel, which is relying and waiting on that 3-run home run to come. And granted, when you get a 3-run home run and your team hits it, you love it. You want to see it. But when your offense is just stagnant, you can't get guys on, you're waiting for that bomb to come that never comes. That's how you find yourself losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-2. Period. That's how you catch yourself losing games that you're supposed to lose. Because last night, I'm not sure if anybody catch this or caught this, but last night, the Yankees were only able to get off the leadoff man in the inning twice during the whole game. Twice. One was a walk. The other was a single. But both times, after the leadoff man got on, the next batter hit into a double play. You're not going to win many games like that. I'll get deeper into the numbers when I pull up the stats. But I got some things I want to throw out there first. The first thing I want to throw out there is, I already said it earlier, Joey Gallo's on the way out. Right? There's a ticket waiting for him at LaGuardia to fly wherever he wants, domestically in the U.S. to another team, first class. How you doing? First class. Get yourself a shot of tequila while you're on the plane. How you doing? That's first. Matt Carpenter needs to start playing more than Josh Donaldson. I know I brought it up, Josh Donaldson's age, his contract, but Josh Donaldson, especially over these past 2 weeks, he'll have a hit, right? He'll go 2 for 4 or 1 for 3. He'll get a double, but then he'll go 0 for 4. And we saw it last night. He did have an at-bat where against Quintana, he worked the pitch count. I think it was 12, 13 pitch at-bat he had, but he still struck out. He still struck out. And last night against Quintana, now Jose Quintana is a veteran. He's been in the majors for a long time. I think Quintana was a player that because the White Sox traded for him. I think that's how the Astros got Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez, the outfielder. I think that's how the Astros got him. But regardless, Quintana is a veteran. And he saw last night that the Yankees bats were trying to hit that home run. So he expanded the strike zone. He was pitching outside the strike zone. And for some reason, we were swinging at it. Pitches that were at the eye level, we were swinging at. Pitches that were totally below the strike zone, we were swinging at. So Quintana, credits to him. You got to take your hat off to him. As a veteran, he realized and he recognized that the Yankees bats were a little bit too frisky. And he took advantage of it. I know we was missing Anthony Rizzo last night, but yes, as good as Anthony Rizzo has been for this team, he's not Aaron Judge, right? Does he move the needle for the Yankees? Absolutely. He has 20-something home runs. Why wouldn't he move the needle? But when it comes to our best hitter, no, he's not. But he gives Judge that protection. Normally, Judge, when he comes off of rest days, off days, he has home runs. He didn't. So that broke a little streak he had. But Anthony Rizzo hopefully gets healthy and he's able to come back. You know, they said it was a lower back inflammation and he was scratched right before the lineup. So hopefully it's nothing too big. They may rest him tonight, not too sure, but I wouldn't count on Anthony Rizzo being in the lineup tonight. And I said this before. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they may be the bottom barrel of the league or maybe one of the bottom barrel of the leagues, but they're still a major league team. And if they were able to sweep the LA Dodgers, they definitely could be able to sweep us. So let's be careful and let's do what we have to do tonight, right? So I brought up Montas being hurt, and that's a big issue because the Oakland A's are trying to get as much as they can when it comes to rebuilding and retooling. Look at the Cleveland Guardians. They spent these last 2 or 3 years retooling. They traded Clevenger over to San Diego. So they moved a lot of their players. Francisco Lindor. But look what they did. They were able to get solid returns. Ahmed Rosario, Jimenez. The Guardians are doing what you have to do. That's what the Oakland A's are trying to get when it comes to Frankie Montas and other trades. Now, I'm a big fan of Christian Pache, who they have, but he doesn't hit. Now, if I'm the Yankees, am I going to call about Laureano? Absolutely, I'm going to call about Laureano. But the asking price, it may be a little bit too steep for us. Offensively, he's not that great of a hitter. Right? He doesn't strike out as much. That's one thing that I like. But he's not that great of a hitter. Defensively, he's awesome. He has a cannon out there in right field. And that's what we need right now. Knowing that Aaron Judge is going to be the center fielder for the rest of the season, the Yankees need to work on the corner outfield spots. If we could get Ian Happ and put Ian Happ in center field, hands down, I'll do that tomorrow. But Brian Cashman has some moves that he has to make. Right? And I'm going to just break it down. Aaron Hicks, he's not going nowhere. He's owed too much money. He's owed, I think, $30 million over the next 3 years, something like that. Something to that tune. He's not going nowhere. Joey Gallo, he's only owed $17 million for this season. Well, almost halfway through the season, so it's just half of that. He most likely is out the door. Josh Donaldson has too much money left on his contract. I don't think the Yankees are going to cut bait with that. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, IKF, he's on a 1-year deal. Do the Yankees go out and get a shortstop to fill in for IKF? No, I don't think so. I think what we need to see is Marwin Gonzalez getting more at bats at shortstop, giving IKF a few days off. I think it's more of a jitter situation with IKF because one IKF, he grew up a Yankee fan, he grew up a Derek Jeter fan, and I think he's doing too much, and this is all a mental game when it comes to IKF. You'll see a couple games, he'll make phenomenal plays, phenomenal, Gold Glove. Like da-da-da, like ESPN type plays, top 10. But then when it comes to the routine play, nonchalantly boots it. So I think it's more of a expectations and more of a thinking issue when it comes to IKF. Granted, his bat, he got 3 hits last night. So hopefully he's starting to turn it around. But I don't think the Yankees will go out and get a shortstop. No. I think what it is, it's an eternal problem. You got Marwin Gonzalez, who could get some at-bats, and we got Oswald Peraza. Let's see what Oswald Peraza has. Let's see. Maybe we bring up Oswald Peraza. He goes off for a couple games, and he's included in the trade with Andujar, Florial, and Peraza for Castillo. Who knows? Or we could put Peraza in the trade for Andrew Benintendi. Who knows? But let's look at these stats. Let me get them up right now. And I will start with the New York Yankees. 1 second. Bingo. And last night, the Yankees were only able to muster 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 10 hits. They got 10 hits last night. Only able to get 2 runs. But last night, DJ LeMahieu, he was at first base filling in for Anthony Rizzo. But DJ LeMahieu was 1 for 4. Aaron Judge, the center fielder, he was 1 for 5. Got that RBI single. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 3. He had some shots the opposite way. Giancarlo Stanton, Now there was three balls in play, or two balls in play last night that should have been hits. Brian Reynolds stole one from Stanton. The second baseman, Castillo, stole one from Stanton. And also, I think that Castillo, if I'm not mistaken, was a prospect that we put in a package for Clay Holmes. Josh Donaldson, the third baseman, he was 0 for 4. But look at Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter was 2 for 4. Now, if it's a situation that tonight Anthony Rizzo's not in the lineup, Matt Carpenter needs to move from the 6th hole, and he needs to move to that 3rd hole. Period. But Matt Carpenter was 2 for 4. Aaron Hicks last night in left field, he was 1 for 4. Jose Trevino, our amigo, has come down to earth dramatically, and he was 0 for 4. I think Jose Trevino right now is batting in the 240, 250 range. So he has bottomed out. He went from hitting 310, now he's hitting 240. The aforementioned IKF Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he was 3 for 4 last night. He was trying to get that rally going in the 9th inning. He got on, but DJ couldn't get on, and Judge struck out looking, and that was horrible. But over to the pitching side, Jamison Tyone, he pitched 5 1/3, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs. Oh God, no walks, and he struck out 5. Lucas Licky, whenever he's out there, always gives me the nerves. It's just always gives me the nerves. But Lucas Licky last night, he pitched the inning in 2/3, gave up 3 hits, no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. And we saw the Cubano, Aroldis Chapman, come in last night. Fastball touching 100 miles per hour. So that's something that we got to, tip our hat off. Locating it as well. He didn't get any strikeouts, but he didn't do some ground balls. But Chapman last night, he pitched the inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. The losing pitcher on record was Jamison Tyone. How we doing? Now let's look over at the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates last night, you got Brian Hayes, first of all, and they loaded up this lineup with left-handed hitters. You got Brian Hayes, who's a natural right-handed hitter. Brian Reynolds, who's a switch hitter, but he was batting from the left side. And then every other batter was a lefty. But Brian Hayes last night, Brian Hayes was a third baseman. He was 0 for 4. Brian Reynolds, a center fielder, he's 2 for 4. Wisniewski, another young prospect for the Pirates, the left fielder, was 2 for 4. The big fella, Daniel Vogelbach, he was thick last night. He was 1 for 4, had that home run. The thick daddy. Then you have Sasugo, the first baseman. He was 2 for 3. O'Neal Cruz, who someone that I wanted to keep my eyes on, he was 0 for 3, but he did have a flyout. He did have an RBI flyout, something that Joey Gallo has never done in his career. O'Neal Cruz has been in the big leagues, has played 23 games in the big leagues, and he already has a sacrifice fly. Joey Gallo has played 692 professional games in the major leagues and no sacrifice fly for an RBI. But Ben Gamel, the right fielder, the former Yankee, was 2 for 3. Perez, the catcher, Michael Perez, was 0 for 3. And then the second baseman, Jordan Van Meter, was 0 for 2. And when you look over to the pitching side, Jose Quintana, they took him out because the Yankees, it started to seem like the Yankees were figuring him out in that 6th inning or in that 5th inning. But Quintana pitched 5 innings, Gave up 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Will Crow came in afterwards, pitched 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 0 strikeouts. They had Dwayne Underwood Jr., who came in afterwards. He pitched the inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Then the closer, Bednar, came in afterwards. He pitched the inning. He gave up that hit to IKF. But after that, he shut it down. With that 1 strikeout being against our captain, Aaron Judge. The winning pitcher on record, Jose Quintana, improved his record to 2-4. And Bednar got his 13th save of the season. So the Pittsburgh Pirates, the players, they admitted it last night in Pittsburgh. That was the first game all season that was sold out the way it was sold out. So it was a sellout as well as a celebration. You had what's his name? The Pirate who hit that home run who made Mickey Mantle cry. Musial. Yeah, I think it's Stan Musial. He was out there through the first pitch. So it was a lot of dramatic, it was a lot of Hollywood flair last night in Pittsburgh. And the players, I think, fed off of that. This is the first time all season that at their home ballpark, that energy was in the air. And I think the players felt that. I think the players fed off of that. Give me a sec. But now, tonight, we can't lose tonight. And I get it. I wanted to start this off by saying, oh, God, I get it. The Yankees lost. The season's over. We lost against Pittsburgh. Put it in the book. It's horrible. No. That's going to be tonight. The Yankees can't lose tonight against Pittsburgh. They cannot get swept against Pittsburgh, especially going into Houston. There's been a lot of Houston Astro fans online, especially in the Twitterverse, talking a lot of mierda. Talking a lot of poo-poo. But the Yankees, they got to win tonight. You got to go into Houston with a winning attitude, with winning energy. Do I want to sweep Houston? Absolutely. But I'll be happy with 2 out of 3. 3 out of 4. 2 out of 3. But we can't go. Wait, is it Houston? I'm bugging out real quick. I think it is Houston that they face. Or is it Boston? No, I think it's Houston and then Boston. Let me just double check. Just to be sure, because this ADHD, this Araha that I have, correction, it's against Boston. Correction, big correction. It's against Boston. But even still, being that it's against Boston, they don't want to go into Boston with a losing record or with a losing mentality. We have to take the game tonight against Pittsburgh. Then we got Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Boston and Sunday in Boston. So we have a 4-game series in Boston. Right now, the Yankees were 13 games up on Boston. I know. We have a series against Boston being 13 games up. It's a bit worrisome. I know. It's scary. But after this Pittsburgh series tonight, we got 4 games coming up against Boston, 3 games coming up against Cincinnati. Then we got another 3 games against Boston. Then we got 2 games against Houston. That's why I saw that at 2 games against Houston. So, in this month of July, we have, I think they said 7 games against Boston. Now, hypothetically, if the Yankees were to lose those 7 games against Boston, we would still have a 6-game lead in the division. Now, do we want to lose 7 games against Boston? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But when you have this much of a cushion in the division, I'm not saying take the foot off the gas. No. Not whatsoever. You could breathe easily. Now, a reason why the Yankees aren't starting, and this is just how I feel when it comes to Estevan Florial, right? Because I'm going to touch on this before we dip out. When it comes to Estevan Florial, I'm old enough to remember in 2005 when the Yankees brought up a young center fielder by the name of Melky Cabrera. I think Melky was 19 or 20 years old at the time. There was a series in Boston that Melky Cabrera was a center fielder for. And it was utter garbage. I'm surprised Melky Cabrera was even able to bounce back and have a major league career. There was a play coming at him while he was in center field where he dove for the ball, missed it completely. I think Coco Crisp hit the, I'm not sure. Missed the ball completely missed the ball inside the park home run. It was a series where the Yankees got mollywopped. We got swept. We got embarrassed. And a big part of that was Melky Cabrera's play in center field. I think Brian Cashman has that in the back of his mind whenever he's thinking about allowing Estevan Florial playing the majors. I don't know why. Estevan Florial has done everything you could have asked. Now, the season he's having right now is the best that he's had in the minors. If he would have had this season last year, I don't think there will be any conversations. I think he will be a part of this team right now. But I just don't think the Yankees front office have enough trust in Estevan Florial. And working the trades like they're working, I'm not mad at them. Why would you bring up a player to put him in the majors, expose him, and diminish his trade value? I think that's literally what it is. I think they do not want, especially when it comes to Andujar. You got a sample size of Andujar; he was solid. Then you seen some sample sizes of him when he's not hitting the ball too well. And I think that's what it is. I think Brian Cashman is doing his best not to diminish their trade value. It's sad to say it, but I think that's the game plan. Now, and Brian Cashman, we trust. We have to. We have to trust Brian Cashman. We have to trust his front office. Period. Now, with the trade deadline coming up, I've already mentioned several players that I think the Yankees should have their eye on. Say it again, Luis Castillo, starting pitcher. I don't think we should go after Frankie Montas, especially after that injury. No. Ian Happ from the Chicago Cubs. I've seen a lot of Yankee fans throw out there Brandon Drury. If you guys remember Brandon Drury was the third baseman that didn't work out that gave Miguel Andujar that shot to even have the season he had back in 2018. Playing for Cincinnati, Brandon Drury's hitting 270. I think he has 16, 17 home runs. Listen, happy for him. Awesome from him. It's not going to work out in New York. He didn't have just one stint with the Yankees. He had 2 stints with the Yankees. And as well as the New York Mets. So it didn't work out in the Bronx, and it didn't work out in Queens. He went over to Toronto as well. It didn't work out in Toronto. So I'm happy that he was able to find himself in Cincinnati and try to hold on to whatever major league career he has. Totally happy with that. Not mad at the man whatsoever. But it's not going to work out in the Bronx for Brandon Drury. So that's a player that I do not want the Yankees to go after. Andrew Benintendi, that's a player that intrigues me. But it's also, what is it going to cost? And has he fallen back down to earth? Because for the first 2 months of the season, well, in April, May, and half of June, Benintendi was hitting 320, 330. When we look right now, just give me 1 second. When we look at Andrew Benintendi's stats right now, he's hitting 313. He's not a home run hitter. So will we get him? Where will we put him in the lineup? Will we be batting him leadoff? That's a position that's where I would put him. As much as I love DJ LeMahieu is not a leadoff hitter. He doesn't have the speed to be a leadoff hitter. But Andrew Benintendi, left-hand hitting outfielder, why not? He's hitting .313 on the season. He has 32 RBIs. He has 3 home runs. His stolen bases is down. He only has 1 stolen base and was caught twice. 12 doubles, 2 triples. Why not? And that's a big reason why I wanted the Yankees to give Estevan Florial a chance. Because when you look at Estevan Florial's numbers, Estevan Florial has 26 stolen bases. And check this out. He was only caught twice. He has 26 stolen bases and was only caught twice. I understand it's the minor leagues and you could probably steal more in the minors, but those you can't knock those numbers. 26 and was only caught twice. Those are phenomenal numbers. Now, when I look up his minor league stats, hold on one second. Yeah. 26. Oh, he was caught 5. But even still, 26 out of 31, he's hitting .310. He has 10 home runs, 29 RBIs. What's his strikeout numbers? A big thing, his strikeouts. He has 80 strikeouts, though. That's a big that right there, I think, is alarming. 80 strikeouts. But he's pulling the ball. He's batting .308. His on-base percentage is .384. So he's not one to work the count. Florial. And this is all with Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Now, do I want to see Estevan Florial in the Bronx? Absolutely, 100%. But I get it. I understand. The way that this Yankee team is constructed right now, especially being the best team in baseball when it comes to record, competing for a playoff spot, competing for a championship, competing for the number 1 seed. I get it. You aren't a team that is built to allow a Florial, to allow other players to go on 1 to 2 weeks of stretches where they're not hitting. Chop, what is good, Unc? I get it. But you're still allowing Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo to play out there. That's where I don't get it. That's where you lose me. Right? If you're going to say, well, I'm just assuming they haven't said it. But if they aren't going to allow Florial or Andujar to play out there because they're scared or they worry or have some worrisome that Florial will go through a stretch where he can't get a hit, 0 for 20, whatever, cool. But Joey Gallo's doing the same thing right now that you're worried about Estevan Florial potentially doing. Joey Gallo has 1 hit in his past 32 at-bats. He barely has a batting average. There's no defensive metric out there that says that Joey Gallo should be out there over Andujar or Florial. Andujar is not a gold glove outfielder. I get that. But he's serviceable. His bat plays. Now, it's July 6th. The trade deadline is a few weeks away. We have from now until then to see if Brian Cashman is going to allow Andujar or Florial to get opportunities, because just bringing somebody up just to be the extra man during a doubleheader, that's not giving anybody any serviceable time. You seen it last night. Joey Gallo sat. He didn't play. Granted, it was against a left-handed pitcher, Quintana. I understand that. Let's see what happens tonight. But they started Matt Carpenter, who's a lefty as well, who got a hit off of Quintana. He was 2 for 4. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know what the over or under is or when Cashman will make a move, but it needs to happen within these next 7 days. It needs to happen within these next 7 days. We have a series coming up after today, a 4-game series against the Boston Red Sox. Then we play Cincinnati, and I think the Cubs, then Boston one more time, or we play Cincinnati and then Boston. The next time we play Boston, not the 4-game series that's coming up, but the next time after this next series we play Boston, Joey Gallo should not be a part of this team. Hate to say it, but Joey Gallo should not be a part of this team. You got some people calling up saying, oh, the chemistry, what chemistry? What chemistry? Have I missed Instagram posts or Instagram stories of Joey Gallo and the boys hanging out? Have I missed those moments of Joey Gallo in the dugout with his arms hugged around Stanton and Judge? Was there any times that I missed the chances or the times that Joey Gallo was hanging at the Rangers game with Judge, Donaldson, and Rizzo? Did I miss that? Because it didn't happen. I don't know what chemistry people are talking about with Joey Gallo. What chemistry? The man is batting 7th, 8th, or 9th in this lineup. He cares more about his hair than he does his batting average. He's come out and said that this is the type of hitter I am. I'm not changing. What chemistry? What chemistry? The players are just saying what they have to say for their teammate. You haven't seen any outrageous claims from any of these players or any outrageous defense of Joey Gallo from any of these players. No. None of these players come out and rip the fans for going after Joey Gallo. No. So I don't want to hear this chemistry nonsense anymore because I don't see I don't see any chemistry. I don't see anything outside of the games that will hint towards chemistry. You had Aaron Judge, who I think he had his wedding party or whatever party he had at the beginning of the year with Josh Donaldson, got drunk and looked stupid. Where was Joey Gallo? I don't remember seeing Joey Gallo there. But you got Josh Donaldson there, who literally just became teammates with Judge and is partying right there with Joey Gallo. So I please, let's put this to bed about the chemistry issue. Because when you have a player who's batting, let me just get his stat. Because when you have a player that's batting like Joey Gallo is batting, he's batting 165. He's batting 165 on the year. He has 89 strikeouts. He only has 33 walks. 30 walks. My bad. My apologies. 30 walks. Last year in 2021 with the Yankees, he had 228 plate appearances. He played in 58 games with us last year. 228 plate appearances. 188 at bats, but we're going to put it at 228. Last year, his 228 plate appearances got him, he struck out 88 times. This year is 89. Last year, with Texas, Joey Gallo batted 223. This year, he's batting 165 with the Yankees. When the Yankees acquired Joey Gallo last year, Joey Gallo, he hit 160 with the Yankees. Last year, when the Yankees acquired Joey Gallo, I'm going to say it again, and 228 plate appearances, his batting average was 160. 88 strikeouts, 37 walks, and 13 home runs. This year, Joey Gallo has 194 at-bats. He's hitting 165, 30 walks, and only 9 home runs. Joey Gallo is not a player that needs to be in a postseason lineup. Not with the numbers that I just put out there. It's insane that Joey Gallo is getting playing time over players who, I get it, in the minor leagues, it seems like the numbers would translate, but getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, Joey Gallo is. While you have Andujar wasting away in the minors, while you have Florial wasting away in the minors. So, Brian Cashman, I'm giving you about a week. You got 3 things you need to do. The first thing, figuring out what you're going to do with Joey Gallo. That's the first thing. The second thing is bringing in a starting pitcher. And the third and final thing is figuring out what you're going to do with Miguel Andujar and Estevan Florial. My guy Chop Low, what he said. Hector, you think yesterday's loss was because Taillon guy returned to Pittsburgh? The Mets lost also. Yeah, but Chop, you wasn't here earlier, so I'm put this back up there so you can see it. But Taillon, he's in a burning house right now. To start the season, Jameson Taillon was phenomenal. He was looking like he was the ace of the staff right next to Nestor Cortez. He looked like he was competing for a spot at the All-Star game. But in his past 6 starts, Chop, check this out. And the past 6 starts that he has, Jameson Taillon has an ERA over 6. He has a 6.16 ERA. You're not going to win many games like that. And I think it's Taillon getting just a little bit fatigued. Because like I said, in April and in May, to start the season, he was pitching 6, 7, 8 innings like it was no problem. Soon as the month turned to June, I think the fatigue started setting in. I think his location also took a hit. Because you saw it last night. He left the cutter right in the middle of the plate for Vogelbach to pull it out the park. And that's what he did. The big fella pulled it out. So I think it's more of a fatigue issue right now with Taillon. I think the Yankees, what they need to do is bring in that extra starter, put this rotation instead of a 5-man rotation. We need to move to a 6-man rotation. I know a lot of old school baseball fans aren't too keen and aren't too, excited about the prospects of a 6-man rotation. But in 2022, I think it's time to move to a 6-man rotation. For the simple fact, these teams are investing way too much money into these players, into these pitchers, that a pitching injury can happen just like that. When you're investing so much money as, these major league teams are into these starting pitchers, you're going to try to avoid injury as best as you can. And I think going from a 5-man rotation to a 6-man rotation like they do in Japan, this is not some random out of the blue scenario. No, they already do this in Japan for the Japanese Baseball League because they understand that the pitchers, they need rest. That's why sometimes, a lot of pitchers, when they come over from Japan to the States, the transition is not the best. They'll have a couple years where they're phenomenal, but then they'll start to teeter off just because their bodies were built ever since they were in high school to pitch in a 6-day rotation, not a 5-day rotation, a 6-day rotation. I think here in the States, in the U.S., major league teams and baseball in general need to move from a 5-man rotation to a 6-man rotation. right? You need to protect these players. One player that I always like to point to, he pitched in the 80s, and it was before any of this, information we have now when it comes to injuries and pitching and even just medical advancement. It's not the same in 2022. Nowhere. In the 80s, it was nowhere close to what it is in 2022. But Doc Gooden, right, is who I point to. At 19 years old, Doc Gooden pitched over 200 innings. Doc Gooden had over 200 strikeouts. Doc Gooden was pitching complete games at 19 years old. And what happened? Few years later, his body just shut down. His body just couldn't handle that much of a strain because you're not built like that. You aren't built from a low level, from travel ball, softball, all the way to lower levels. From travel ball, you aren't built to go 6 days. If you look a lot of the times when you look at these travel ball baseball competition, a lot of these pitchers are pitching every 2 days or every 3 days. We need to take a step back, and you need to have some care and some rest for these pitchers. It's just basic common sense. You're going to overstrain somebody. Your body's not built to throw a pitch like this over and over and over and over. You're fragile. You're like paper. You're going to break in half. But reaching that time, let me just go through the lineup for today. Not even the lineup, but let me just preview tonight's game, right, before I dip out. And we have Luis Severino going tonight for our Yankees. Yo, Chop, that's hilarious. I needed that laugh. So they were Tom Thibodeau, the players in the ground. Absolutely. That was a good one, Chop. But yeah, tonight for the Yankees, we got Luis Severino on the mound. 4-3 on the season so far. In 78 innings, he's only allowed 59 hits. He struck out 91. Only walked 23. He's given up the long ball 11 times. So 11 home runs from Severino. But for the Pirates, they're throwing out Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is 2-5 on the season. He got a 5.14 ERA. And in 70 innings, he's given up 76 hits. So he's given up 6 more hits than innings pitched. 76 hits, 59 strikeouts, 31 walks. He's given up 31 walks, but he's only allowed 6 home runs. So let's see what happens tonight. Hopefully, Matt Carpenter is still in this lineup because we need Matt Carpenter in this lineup. Hopefully, if Anthony Rizzo is not hurt, he'll be back in the lineup. But I think the Yankees are going to be precautious with Anthony Rizzo. I would as well. Rest Anthony Rizzo. Put Matt Carpenter in that lineup. Put him in the third hole. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can catch lightning in a bottle. But my guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please like. Please comment. Please subscribe. Share this with your friends on all social media platforms. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram and on Twitter, on Instagram, you can hit up Project Nerd HQ. On Twitter, you could go Yankees Brew KOD, Yankees Morning Brew on Twitter as well. Follow me over there. Tune into the Nights of DJing on YouTube, on Twitch. You can follow Nights of DJing KOD as well. KOD Media is on Twitter as well. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. My man, Chop Low. Thank you for tuning in, Chop Low. Jiggerman Porto as well. I appreciate you. He is the producer that's behind the scenes, my man. And we out. Peace.
Take Go.